I the jerk for insisting my friends pay for their 2 sons as adults on group trips? I, a 38-year-old female, often travel with friends who share my interests, including a couple who are both 50 years old, with 2 children now aged 15 and 11. Initially, we counted the boys as one person when dividing expenses because they were younger, around 9 and 6. This has raised questions on subsequent trips, although no one has directly addressed the parents. The boys usually get their own room, order what they want, and participate in shared meals. Some friends have privately asked why they only pay for one child. On our last trip, they initially planned to bring one son but ended up bringing both. They only paid for 3 places in our rental home instead of 4, which not everyone agreed with. This also meant we needed to bring an extra car. During the trip, the parents privately asked if we thought it was fair for their youngest son, Jamie, to pay the same as an adult, given he eats less. While Jamie is picky, their older son, Oliver, eats more than most adults. The mother even joked, whatever Jamie doesn't eat, Oliver will finish. We mostly ate in the house but had one special night out where Jamie didn't like the food and didn't eat much. It didn't occur to me at the time to exclude him from the bill. I'm a vegetarian and didn't eat the steak but still paid my share. At other meals, Jamie ordered individual plates similar to the rest of us. I also believe it was the parents' responsibility to bring up the subject with the whole group. Jamie and Oliver usually had cereal and milk, while the adults ate more substantial breakfasts. Their parents often commented on our breakfast portions compared to the boys. Lunches and dinners were similar in portion size, though the boys didn't drink alcohol. For context, I brought 4 bottles of wine and didn't include them in expenses. We bought beer, averaging 4 to 5 beers per adult over the week. After returning home, the parents expressed their hurt that we didn't offer to reduce some expenses since the boys didn't eat as much as the adults. I pointed out that they hadn't paid an equal share for the house, and that Jamie and Oliver are at an age where they should be included as adults. Other friends have commented on this too. While I understand it's expensive to travel as a family of 4, both parents have well-paying jobs. We mostly ate at home or had picnics, so each person paid around €200 for a week of food and shared expenses, which is reasonable given the area. So, am I the asshole for insisting that the division of expenses was fair and not offering to reduce some of their shared costs? You acted correctly. The children are grown up, not toddlers who just drink milk and sit out of activities. They should definitely have paid for 4 places in the house, as their kid isn't a baby in a bassinet. Why should the rest of the group be expected to subsidize their family vacation? Would I be the asshole if I confronted my bridesmaid? I got married this weekend and the day was perfect. As we were getting ready, I noticed one of my bridesmaids, Amy, doing things that I didn't love, but I was so distracted with everything going on that I didn't think much of it. For example, in the bridal suite, she would step onto the balcony to FaceTime her partner instead of engaging with the group. She was also very set on getting drunk. We had a mimosa or 2 throughout the day as we were getting ready, but the vibe was definitely not get wasted. She also asked me and another member of the bridal party if we had any cocaine at 9 a.m., which I'm not personally against, but again, not the vibe. Yesterday, 2 of my other bridesmaids, Tanya and Sarah, who have also known Amy since high school, told me some other things that had gone on during the day with Amy. Amy had missed the rehearsal due to being stuck in traffic. Amy and Sarah had been stuck next to each other in traffic and both arrived at the rehearsal site at the same time, only about 5 minutes late. Sarah's partner dropped her off at the rehearsal and then went to check into their room. Amy chose to go check into the room with her partner and missed the rehearsal. Tanya told me that throughout the wedding day, Amy made several jokes about missing the rehearsal and winging it. Amy said she wanted to bring her partner up to the bridal suite to hang out with us. Tanya said no, her partner could not join us, and Amy got annoyed. Right before pictures, Amy pulled out a weed gummy. Tanya and Sarah told her not to eat it. Amy said, "It's fine," and took it anyway. She also took 3 to 4 shots of vodka. As the bridal parties were in the back room of the venue minutes before the ceremony, Amy went to the bar, which was not open yet, and asked for shots. They would not give her any. I told her to wait until after the ceremony. She did that about 3 times. Amy's partner was not invited to the wedding, as they are new, and we had already submitted the head count. I did tell Amy that her partner could come to the reception dance part of the wedding around 8 p.m. At 6:45 p.m., Amy told Tanya that she wanted her partner to come now. Tanya told her she had to wait until 8 p.m. like I had said. When Amy's partner did arrive, I met her briefly. Sarah told me that at one point she went to the back room to get something, and Amy and her partner were there openly doing cocaine on the table. Sarah told them to put it away, and Amy's partner snapped at her. None of us had met Amy's partner prior to this day. They could have gotten our wedding shut down and possibly gotten us in legal trouble. It seems to me that my wedding was just an excuse for Amy to party with her partner. I'm very hurt as she is one of my oldest friends, and I feel that she behaved disrespectfully throughout the day. Historically, Amy has not been much of a partier at all, so this was not something I anticipated. Would I be the asshole if I confronted her? The fact that your other bridesmaids were having to police her is quite bad form on her part. Amy sounds like a complete nightmare, and this behavior has addiction written all over it. It may not be well received, but addressing your concerns is the right thing to do, even if it's tough. You would not be the asshole for having that conversation, as it's actually a brave step to take. Am I the jerk for wearing a skirt to my boyfriend's cousin's wedding? My boyfriend, who is 30 years old, and I, who am 28 years old, were invited to his 27-year-old cousin's wedding. They are Scottish. The wedding was held at a beautiful garden, and the dress code for male guests was a kilt and an Argyll jacket. Due to work conflicts, we couldn't travel together. My boyfriend left weeks earlier to practice for the band and to play the Highland bagpipe for the ceremony. He offered to buy the clothes for me, but since he has a history of not picking the right size, I told him I would buy mine when I got there, and he just needed to tell me where to purchase them. I arrived on the day of the wedding and went to the place my boyfriend recommended, but it was closed. I went to a mall, picked up the set, and headed to the wedding. I arrived just in time but couldn't see my boyfriend. The wedding was beautiful. At the reception, I noticed people staring and gossiping about me. Since I didn't know my boyfriend's relatives well, I tried to blend into the background. When I finally saw my boyfriend, he was furious. He told me I shouldn't be wearing a skirt instead of a kilt. He explained the differences. I was wearing a shorter length than required, and it was bifurcated pleated, making it a skirt, not a kilt. His family scolded him because they felt I was mocking their culture. A week has passed, and his family is still mad at him. He understood my mistake and is more at ease, but the constant calls and messages from his relatives and friends are overwhelming him. Was I wrong here? I am not Scottish, and English is not my first language. I don't know why people assume I should have a kilt already. His mother's relatives, whom I know, are very different from his father's relatives, whom I didn't know. In my country, there are no kilt stores, and I didn't think I would be invited to a Celtic wedding, which is why I didn't buy an outfit years in advance. It wasn't a malicious rejection of my boyfriend's proposal. We both laughed and joked about it, and neither of us gave it a second thought. When I arrived in Edinburgh, it was an 18-hour flight, and I had to go straight to the wedding. The store he told me about was closed, and neither of us knew it would be closed on Sunday. I couldn't reach him via text or calls because he was busy with wedding details. That's why I decided to go to a mall. Yes, I bet the sales girl at the mall got a laugh after selling me the skirt. I have known my boyfriend for 2 years, but we officially started dating 6 months ago. I was officially invited to the wedding a month before the event, and my boyfriend asked his cousin, who then told me we should get the kilt in Scotland. I didn't plan everything in advance because it was short notice for me to get approval for the time off. I wasn't a significant guest, just another attendee. I was there because of my boyfriend, not because he wanted to introduce me to his family officially. I knew my boyfriend and 2 other people at the wedding, and they were occupied. The relatives bothering my boyfriend are from his father's side, and there are about 10 people at most. I apologized to the groom and bride, and they are fine. It's hard to believe someone would wait until the day they arrived to buy a kilt, especially when they had weeks to plan. Most Scottish people would find this hilarious rather than be offended. The whole situation would be great comedy material at any wedding. You'd probably get mocked in good fun, and someone would likely help out with a spare kilt or trousers. After a certain point in the night, people might even want to take turns wearing the kilt. Am I the jerk for helping a parent understand legal documents? Long story hopefully short, I, 46-year-old female, and my family are doing moderately well in life. My family is pretty dysfunctional, and I have always kept my guard up. My father, 77 years old, is getting on in age and his memory is fading. I have patience with my father and speak with a calm manner. Even if I have to repeat myself 10 times in an hour, I will. After all, he taught me how to walk, talk, eat, and helped me throughout my education, so it is the least I can do. My mother and I do not have the best relationship. I have set boundaries, which have constantly been broken. Now that my children are older, 19 years old and 17 years old, they too have distanced themselves and watch what they say in her presence. My brother, 48 years old, is just a lot. My parents have decided after their declining health to start the process of legal documents, which has led to more disharmony and dishonesty. My father no longer trusts my mother's words, and their relationship has become extremely toxic due to catching her in lies multiple times in the past 4 months. My father has asked me to speak with the solicitor and gain the knowledge to then explain to him, which I obliged. There are 3 different lengthy documents, which even I got a little confused about. Now my brother is accusing me of being sly to convince our father of his intentions, which I absolutely have not. The solicitor has even taken a recording of my father explaining the documents and his intentions. No one else was in the room apart from my father and the solicitor. My father has split everything 50-50. However, my mother has omitted me completely under the pretense that I am fine financially, whereas my brother is not. When I told my brother this, he lost his mind and accused me of acting better than him. When I said our mother told the solicitor that and I have her handwritten note stating the fact, he accused me of writing the note myself. Now my mother wants my father to live with us and for me to be his full-time carer. She wants nothing to do with him, nor me and my family. I am happy to accommodate my father, however he does not want to leave his home, which I understand. So, am I the asshole for following my father's direction and allowing this toxic behavior back into our lives? I think you are not in the wrong here. As you said, you are only helping and working with the solicitor to make sure your parents' wishes are documented. Helping your dad understand legal matters is the right thing to do, especially since he's getting older. Your mom and brother might be making things messy, but you're not taking sides. Focus on what your dad wants and offer your help, but listen if he wants to stay home. Am I the jerk for telling my girlfriend's roommate to mind their own business? My girlfriend, who is 28 years old, and I, who am 31 years old, have been dating for almost 3 years. During that time, she has been living with her roommate Kelly, who is 30 years old, in a house that Kelly's father owns. Although my girlfriend still pays rent, they do not have a formal lease agreement, so my girlfriend can move out whenever she wants. My own lease is coming up in about 3 months, so I thought it would be a great time for my girlfriend and me to start looking for a new place together. I was over at their place last week and brought up the question of us moving in together. My girlfriend suggested that we talk about it later with just the two of us. However, Kelly got really aggressive and started asking why I was asking now instead of last year or the year before that, saying that the timing was really convenient for me. I told Kelly that she should mind her own business and that she is obviously just using my girlfriend for rent money that she does not even need since her father owns the house. Kelly said that she pays rent, just like my girlfriend. My girlfriend then said that she does pay less to Kelly than she would pay to split a place with me. That is true, but if she lived with me, she would have a much shorter commute, 5 minutes versus 20 minutes, and actual air conditioning. Their house just has window units. I tried to explain this, but my girlfriend shut it down and told me to leave, saying we would talk later. My girlfriend texted me later to say that I should have been nicer to Kelly, since Kelly is just looking out for her. She also said that she feels she should stick it out at least another year with Kelly since she owes her. I told her Kelly is just using her, and she said Kelly said the same thing about me. I texted Kelly to say she needs to let my girlfriend make up her own mind and not use guilt against her. Kelly left me on read. Then, my girlfriend called me and said that I should leave Kelly out of it. I said fine, but I am still mad. I did not involve Kelly. Kelly involved herself when she started in on me. So, am I the asshole for telling her to mind her own business? Bringing up the idea of moving in together in front of Kelly was definitely awkward and put both your girlfriend and Kelly in a tough position. It's not logical to broach such a personal topic in front of anyone else, especially when your girlfriend was clearly not ready to discuss it. You are the jerk here, OP, for not picking up on the obvious clues from your girlfriend that it wasn't the right time. Plus, continuing to text Kelly with accusatory messages only made things worse. Am I the jerk for not reuniting with my family because they refuse to speak to me like an adult? I am a 43-year-old male and have one brother who is a 41-year-old male. The backstory is that our parents fought since we were children. Our mother made things worse by insisting on explaining to me what she thought our father did wrong every time they argued. Our father would then come to me later and try to convince me of his side of the story. My brother, on the other hand, put on his headphones and got on with his life. He ignored our parents, and they did not bother him. Our parents divorced after my brother and I had moved out, and our father died in an accident several years later. My brother and I visited our mother regularly. This is when the problem slowly started. I noticed that our mother would cut me off while I was speaking, while she always let my brother finish his sentences. She belittled things I said in casual conversation with responses like, "Oh please," and "Who told you that?" She didn't remember the names of my friends, my colleagues, or even the name of the company where I work. At one point, she said something that revealed that she didn't know what I studied at university, what my career was, or what I did at work every day. Bizarrely, she would tell me stories about my brother's office, like who brought what cake for their birthday, or what happened to the human resources person over the last weekend. One day, I mentioned something that happened between her and my father that was a huge deal, and was something about which my mother spent years complaining to me. It was contextual, otherwise I wouldn't have brought up their arguing for no reason. My mother turned her back to me and replied, "I don't even remember." At this point, I told her that she had ruined my life growing up by dragging me into all her fights with my dad because, while she doesn't care or remember, I certainly do. From this point on, we fought exactly like my parents did, with my mother going around in circles, trying to convince me that I'm an ugly person who only ever gets angry for no reason. I messaged my brother to ask him for his advice, and without another word, he swore at me and cut contact. I have not heard from him since. My mother then told me that he was just trying to help and I got cross, so that's what happens when you are rude to a man. By now I was over this, so I stopped replying. Since then, she continues to send me emails. They alternate between accusing me of just being cross and apologizing for everything. The thing is, that doesn't feel like an apology, and since my brother is a man, I think he should apologize for himself. But now I wonder, am I being harsh for not wanting to reunite with my mother and brother? She is 79 years old. She could pass away soon. She has had 2 heart attacks, and he has a 3-year-old son. Should I make an effort to deal with their failings, or would I just be making myself into a punching bag for whatever accusations enter their heads? In my opinion, you have done nothing wrong here, but beware. People like this need someone within reach to serve as dump sites for toxic emotions. Your mom may try to coax you back after inner pressure builds, and she needs to vent her bad emotions. Her being old or close to death isn't a lifetime get-out-of-jail-free card. Leaving them behind is the best way to protect your peace and well-being. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.